All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. I have a full panel with me today. I got Alec Carr, Dustin Hunt, and Ethan Carbone with me. And I'm so excited. We're going to talk about UFC 278. But before that, we got a few headlines to talk about. But even before that, we got to talk about our sponsors real quick. So anybody that has any type of injury, sports injuries, gym injuries, martial arts injuries, what you have, if you want premium CBD products, go to rxhemp.com. Use the promo code RXHemp-USN, our promo code, to get 10% off your entire order. And I know people like Dustin and Ethan, and including myself, are probably going to bet for this week's card. So make sure you go to mybookie.ag and use our promo code USN100 for 100% sign-up bonus if you join today. All right, people. Like I said, we have a few headlines to talk about. So let's talk about the first one, which is kind of obscure. And I believe Alec Carr was the one that brought it up. Francis Ngannou is going nuts on Twitter. He's making remarks on different topics. And because of the fact that Alec brought it up, I'm going to go to Alec to get some context real quick. If you can do that for our audience right now.
Yeah, so Francis Ngannou, Luke Rockhold said some stuff about him not getting paid and that he's not being treated with health care, which is all true. That's all true stuff. And Francis Ngannou just took it to a whole nother level of we don't get paid on sponsorships. He lost $1 million in crypto last year because of the UFC, because they did the crypto bonus this year, which can't be true, by the way. And if he did, it's his fault because he wasn't smart with it. And he said he understands the sport needs to look good, but the fighters should have at least a minimum of 2 approved sponsors for the in-octagon shorts. A lot of what he said is true, but we know, and the reason we're really bringing this up too is because of Nate Corey's bringing up his previous lawsuit against the UFC. Saying that they found managers having communication and getting paid off by the UFC that to have their fighters take less money. So there's a whole lot to unpack here, really. So there's managers taking bribes, which is has been a rumor for years and years and years in the UFC. That's why there's only about 3 managers, with the 4th coming in. And then you have Francis Ngannou going off about fighter pay, and that he lost $1 million in crypto and he needs more sponsors. I want something to be clear about sponsorship. I don't give a shit about the shorts having sponsors all over them. That's not my thing. I don't care. I thought it was pretty cool because each fighter's shorts were unique, but I also really love the clean look. But what Francis Ngannou has, I don't know if his manager is fucking him over. He gets a share of every sponsor that is printed on that octagon. Not on the shorts, on the octagon. Every other fighter does. So if he doesn't, then his manager sucks.
Where does it say that? You're going to have to educate me. I have to look that up.
It's in all the fighters' contracts. They get share of all of the sponsorships. They get share of all of them. So that's and sometimes there's a lot printed on the octagon and sometimes there's not. So it depends on where you fight, when you fight during the year. If it's during International Fight Month, that's a big deal. But it's just and he's right. Fighters don't get paid enough. But I'm sick and tired of hearing Francis Ngannou complain when he's been told by multiple people to get a new manager that he's just fight, dude. He earns his base pay $700,000 or $600,000. Sorry, fight. That's what you fight twice a year. That's $1.2 million before the sponsorships. So and before bonuses and before the other stuff. And as far as the crypto bonus goes, dude, the UFC gave you $1 million in crypto is what you're claiming, and you just sat there and did nothing with it. Again. Managers, money managers, agents. Dustin and I got into it the other day about agents in the UFC. These fighters need to bring real sports agents, not managers, real sports agents to the table. Real ones. Ones that will say, hey, fuck you, UFC. You're really going to lose out on John Jones? hey, fuck you, UFC. You really think Sugar Sean O'Malley isn't going to make more money anywhere else? I know you're not going to lose out on Paddy Pimblett, so let's renegotiate. Like, that's what happens in the NFL. That's what happens in the NBA, happens in the MLB. And agents know, real sports agencies know what their players are worth. And these managers don't care. It's fucked up. It's Dana White's on top, and then it's the managers getting paid off by them, which I fully believe. Let me go. It doesn't matter. You bring it's a good point, Anthony. But you bring in a big name manager or big name agency.
Connie, that's a great point, by the way. It's a great point. It's more than great, actually.
It doesn't. But if you bring in a big agency that knows what they're doing, if John Jones goes out and pays a big agency, if one of the future stars and the big stars goes out and pays an agency, Dana White's got nothing to fucking stand on, because these managers don't do the same tactics. They don't even do any of the same tactics. They don't leak things through social media. They don't let other fighters know what's going on. They don't take advantage of all the tools. Players and fighters are more powerful than the sports they play for. They have so much pull, and they don't use it, and they're afraid to use it because they're afraid that Dana's going to make them kick them out, which never happened.
Okay, hold on. I'm afraid we're getting off topic. I think we're gonna address Francis and his shit, in my opinion. And I'm gonna tell you right now about the things where you're saying the MLB, the NFL. I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing: there is no other. So when you're in the MLB, right? Let's say we'll take one situation. It's not even really relevant. It probably is not a big deal, but let's take Juan Soto. He's only 23 years old, right? Let's just say he was a free agent. Let's just say his manager looked at the Nationals and was like, "Hey, yo, fuck you. This kid can make 2 times, 3 times more elsewhere." Here's the problem in MMA. Is that Sugar Sean or John Jones or anybody, there's only select organizations that are able to pay. UFC dominates the entire market. They're the highest paying. They're the highest revenue. They dominate everything. There is no, you can shake your head all you want. There is no MMA organization who can come close to what the UFC dishes out to guys like Izzy. It dishes out to guys like Francis. No, you can shake it all you want. Who's paying them, Alec? Who?
It doesn't matter. The UFC's never going to let Alexander Volkanovski go. They're just not.
If they do, he's going to make this money. It's that they don't have as much leverage as you're talking about. I don't care how good that is.
Yes, they do, because the UFC isn't going to lose out on that marquee of a fighter. They're not going to lose out. You're forgetting about the power of media. You're forgetting about these guys. No, wait. You're forgetting about these names are the names. The UFC can go away. If they go to Bellator, this is something you've always wanted to happen, by the way.
Me too, but it's not going to happen.
Let me finish. If these agents start coming in, these real fucking sports agents that actually know what they're doing and not looking out for the UFC, come in and say, that's fine. I'm going to take the 3 guys that I've signed who are your 3 best fighters, and they're going to go to Bellator. And now you're losing your 3 biggest headliners. That would kill the UFC if 3 fighters did that, and Dana White knows that, and that's why he pays these managers off, man. He does it for a reason. He wouldn't just be paying them off if he wasn't afraid of it. Like if he thought they had leverage.
Hey, let's have a real conversation. We'll do this calmly. I'll do this completely calmly. So I'm Dana, and you're Izzy, or you're someone very famous, right? Very famous, successful fighter. You're sitting in front of me. I'm Dana. You're him. Okay, first of all, you want $1.2 million. Bam. Okay, that's Izzy's base. We'll use that. Okay, so you have me, you have Bellator, you got one. And there's very small the PFL. PFL doesn't run that way. That's not their business plan. They won't sign you to a deal like that. So therefore, you have literally only 2 choices globally. So you have Bellator or one. In order for you to get the contract you're looking for, you have to either go to a rival organization that does not have the capital to give. I'm going to be real. Bellator does not. One does not. They will not give him that big money. It won't happen. They also don't have pay-per-view power. You will not earn pay-per-view points. You will not earn the things that you're going to get in the UFC. So the contract I'm laying in front of you, you're not going to get elsewhere. And one doesn't even have a market in the United States. Bellator is nowhere close. What I'm arguing to you right now is Dana can easily beat this money that you're bringing up. He can beat it because they're not going to.
It's not about money. That the agent will go to. No, wait, listen. It is about money, but in a different way you're talking about. The agent can easily say, well, Izzy brings 500,000 PPVs or more a year. If he fights twice, it's over $1 million. If he fights a big marquee card, now he's bringing probably more like 1.5 million PPVs a year. So the UFC, are you willing to lose out on 1.5 million PPVs a year? Dana White's going to say, no, I'm not. Because those are his big money fights, dude. He's not just, and then if 3 other people do it, that the UFC's fucked. They're fucked. This is what you have been dreaming about. Real agents coming in.
No, I haven't dreamed about it.
Fighter pay. This is how it's going to happen because they're never going to unionize. It's just not going to happen.
What I'm telling you is I want it to happen. You're singing to the fucking choir. I hope it does happen. Now, in order for it to happen, another MMA organization has to have the financial backing,
There's ways you can make it up through sponsorships because Bellator, you can have as many sponsors as you want. There's ways you can make up that money through other companies. If you're an Izzy, if you're a fucking Izzy, you will make that money no matter what because you're leaving the UFC. And to Anthony's point, that would be true if we were talking about brand new guys. We're talking about vets. We're talking about the top names getting real agents. People are already known. If they jump shit, that's the end. It doesn't matter. Think about Conor. Think about if Conor couldn't get his money, right? By the way, Conor got paid out in his Donald Cerrone. He got $30 million.
Connor's an
said and done. But no. Let me finish. You say Dana White would budge, right? Wouldn't budge.
Conor.
Okay, that's the biggest name. Now let's take another. Let's take another. Let's say Kamaru Usman is done dealing with Ali and not getting paid as much as he could as he should be, and now signs with like Clutch Sports or something. Let's just bring up a random sports agency, right? And they go, oh, all right, we're not going to give you we're not going to give you the $3 million you think you deserve. And he goes, that's all right. I'll take my talents elsewhere, and I'll also take my 1.5 million PPVs with me. Okay, now he does it. Then Izzy does it. Then Yuri does it. It's the dominoes start to fall. This is why these fighters have more power than they think, is what I'm saying.
I've been saying that for years, but the problem is, first of all, we can talk about Kamaru Usman. I don't know when he drew in 1.2 million. I don't think that ever
for a
happened.
Whole year. If he fights twice, he's probably bringing in around 1.2 million.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, especially when he gets done with Leon Edwards. I don't know how big that card sucked, by the way, if you really ask me. But we'll see how far this goes. But I'm telling you, UFC has debating power, whether we like it or not. They have a lot of debating power.
They do. That's why these guys can't ask for $20 million, but they can ask for 4 or 5 with a real agency backing them, somebody who actually cares about their fighter and will defend them to the death, because that's what real agencies do. Ali just goes, hey, I'm getting $300,000 from Uncle Dana, and I'm getting $90,000 from Kamaru Usman fighting. And plus, I'm also taking a portion of his sponsorships because that's how my contracts work. So you're talking about real sports agents getting involved. It changes fighter pay for everyone. It just does. Talking about it does nothing. Dealing with Ali and all the other ones does fucking nothing, and it's done nothing for forever. So if they're really sick of it, change it up. Make Dana pay you. He's been telling you to make him pay you forever.
I'm cool with what you're saying. Me and you are on the same side. I don't even think we're arguing it to a point. Like, I really think we're on the same side. Like, we're on the same. We want that shit to happen. We want it to happen. Now, knowing Dana and just his history and the way he deals with shit and the way he has reacted. I remember when, what's his face? I still can't believe I don't remember the name. Greatest heavyweight of all time. They were trying to get him from another organization. He sat down with an agent that had nothing to do with the UFC. Absolutely nothing. This guy would have been a huge cash draw.
Emelianenko.
You're right. You're my bad. I don't know how I forgot that. I'm telling you that Dana sat in front of his agent that he knew how much money he was about to make off Fedor. He told his agent to fuck off. He literally told his agent to fuck off.
To be fair, that was 15 years ago. That was a long time ago that happened.
He'll do it again now. He hasn't changed shit. Yeah, it's not changing.
Yeah, but the UFC is more popular now, so they have more money. What I'm saying is if you can get these agents in here, which they can do whatever they want. It's like let's take Connor's Paradigm Sports, right? Paradigm Sports, and we can close with this, and Dustin can retort, and Ethan can chip in, so can you, Monique, after this. But Paradigm Sports is on the list of non-favorite agents. You want to know why? Because the top people pay. But guess who's signing fighters left and right? Paradigm Sports. Because they are charging to change the tone.
I hope so.
Dana's not going to have a choice in the future because these big names and these big prospects are going to either sign with Paradigm or some other sports agency, and they're going to get paid. So for Francis Ngannou to sit there and continue to bitch and keep the same manager who's giving him no results, he can fuck off. Seriously, he's doing nothing. These guys, Luke Rockhold, these guys who talk about it are doing nothing. They're doing nothing to continue the conversation. They're not taking action to actually make fighter pay more. They're just sitting there complaining like, oh, I wish I got paid more. I'm going to go to Ali and ask for more money. Ali said I can't have more money. Oh, man, I really wish I got paid more. You have to do something. That's how life works in general.
Are we going to talk about the Nate Corey lawsuit further, like in the another segment?
Well, we can. I mean, that's the Nate Corey lawsuit. The Nate Corey lawsuit was involved in this, and that managers are getting paid off. That's really what came out of it. Whether it's true or not, we don't know yet, but it's pretty fucking evident that it's true. And it's been a rumor for 20 years.
We will revisit this. Let's go on.
Yeah, guys, we almost spent like 20 minutes on this one topic, but I liked it. I like how it was. I'm sure me and Ethan, we loved when you guys kind of, it's weird because you bickered, but you didn't bicker. You're on the same side. So we're going to move on to the next headline, which are some really weird matchups coming up. This is a weird matchup. I don't even know why the fuck Robbie Lawler is going to be facing Santiago Ponzinibio in the future, okay? For your information, Ethan, Robbie Lawler used to be a really great fighter, but then he kind of just went downhill and is retired, and he should retire soon. That's pretty much what I have to say about Robbie Lawler for Ethan's context right there. Because he probably searched up Robbie Lawler and was like, he was actually a great fighter at one point, but then like I said, and what anybody is thinking, he should retire, and this is the fight hopefully that makes him retire. So I'm gonna go to Alec Carr really quickly. What do you think about this fight real quick, because we have other headlines to talk about?
Yeah, I think like you, it's weird. Ponzinibio needs a win. Maybe that's what they're doing because he's still very good. I don't know. Robbie Lawler is, for frame of reference to everybody watching, he is 20 years in the UFC. You shouldn't be 20 years in the UFC. He should absolutely retire. I hope he retires after this fight, win or lose.
Yeah, Ethan's eyes just kind of went really big when he said that. Ethan, I know you don't really know these fighters too well, but if you've done a little bit of research, what do you think about this fight? Do you think it's a good fight? Do you think that Lawler should retire like what we said? What do you think?
20 years in the UFC is longer than I've been alive. So, I'm going to go with the retirement angle with y'all.
Yeah, probably. I'm hoping after this fight he retires because it's his time to go. Dustin, real quick, what do you think about Lawler versus Ponzinibio?
This was a terrible setup. I have zero idea why they made this fight. Zero. This is just setting up a veteran to get knocked down. They did it with Donald Cerrone because he would take whatever fight that he called for, and Dana respected him. I'll put that shit in quotations. Respected you. I hate that fucking word from Dana. I hate it. Oh, I respect him. No, you respect him because he's taking these fights on short notice and getting his ass beat. That's why you respect him, because he's getting knocked down by the guys you want him to get knocked down by. Fight promoters do this shit. Boxing promoters do it. Kickboxing, I don't give a fuck what sport you're in. Wrestling, doesn't matter. They do this shit. They always do this shit. They always take the veteran, let him get knocked down by the young guys for a while. Then he retires. Ask Chuck Liddell. Ask Shogun. Ask fucking Rashad Evans. I can go down the fucking list. So... it is what it is. This is a stupid fight. I don't even know why they put Lawler in the octagon, period. And to clear it up for Ethan, he had a career where he started off kind of slow, and he's always been kind of there in the UFC. But he almost had like a Charles Oliveira career, like to a point where he came late, and he's all of a sudden became a champion, and he was like getting epics with Roy McDonald when he was in his prime, by the way, when Roy was actually highly touted. And then he was getting epics with other welterweights, and he kind of ascended late. I think that's why he lasted so long, but he's done. I mean, in that division, he's done.
For sure. Speaking of which, at least this matchup coming up actually makes sense. We got for the strawweight title, we got Carla Esparza, the champ, versus Weili Zhang, my Asian girl from the motherland country of China. So I always gotta shout that out. But I'm excited for this fight. It's something that I've never seen before. I don't think they faced each other before. Obviously, this would be a first for both of them. I don't really know who's gonna win, just because like I really admire Carla Esparza in terms of her wrestling, but at the same time, Weili looks really good at this point, and she looked phenomenal in her last fight against, I think it was Yana, was her last fight. So she looked really good on that. So I don't know who I'm gonna pick in this fight. I'm gonna go to Dustin first. Who do you think is gonna win between these two ladies?
I hope it's not as boring as that last fucking fight. I almost cried my eyes out. I've never seen something so boring. I feel like the UFC should have cashed at me at least 50% of what I paid for that, by the way. Like, I just feel like I'm owed something from buying that. Weili is not boring. She's going to push the pace. And I actually believe she's a pretty modern mixed martial artist. So I think she's good everywhere. Thug Rose got some really bad advice from her corner. I have zero idea what the fuck happened last fight. Zero fucking idea. Like, I'm dumbfounded by whoever was telling her what to do. As far as I think Weili is going to get. Well, Pat Barry, I didn't always claim him as the smartest person in the world. So, I mean, it comes to a point where Weili's probably going to get the strap back, and I think Thug Rose is going to come right back and get in a rematch, and it's not going to be as boring as that last one was. I mean, I fucking hope so, because I wanted my money back. I'll let somebody else take over.
All right, so I'm gonna go to Ethan. I know Ethan, you probably have heard these names. Maybe you've heard of Weili, you've heard of Carla, probably from like recent matches if you've done your research. Do you have a winner for this ladies' match for the strawweight title?
I think Carla wins it. I think her wrestling background will negate any training that Weili does in these next few months, because just having that background, I think if she's able to slow down the pace, get to the ground, I think Carla could ground and pound her way into probably split decision win is what my guess would be. But I think Carla could get the win here through 3 rounds.
Okay, I think we're split here, so I'm going to go to Alec Carr. Obviously, Alec Carr, who do you think is going to win this matchup? It's happening November 12th, by the way, UFC 281.
I really wish Rose got our rematch right away. Anyway, that's my first thing I wanted to say. I think Weili wins this fight. I like Carla Esparza. I respect her wrestling, but I'm kind of in Dustin's camp. I have no idea what they were telling Rose to do. He's usually much better. She wins like 99% of the time when he's in her corner. So I just don't know. Maybe it was a mistake from training. I just remember watching that fight going, what is she doing? She looked
God, it was terrible.
Yeah, she looked like out of it, Rose. Not like, because we've seen this before with Rose, where she goes through some stuff and she takes it in the octagon and it hurts her. And that's what it looked like again. I really, really would have loved to see her get a rematch. Weili doesn't do that. Weili's a fucking monster every time she steps into that octagon. So I think Weili's gonna win this one, and I think she'll actually knock out Carla Esparza probably in like the 3rd round.
All right, so we are split in this strawweight bout, but that's okay. I think we're gonna all agree on this next headline, which I saved for last because I kind of want to get Dustin and Alec kind of started talking about this one. I fucking can't believe the nerve of Luke Rockhold saying that Bo Nichols wouldn't fare in the middleweight division. Now, if anyone does not know who Bo Nichols is, he is, as Alec called it, I believe, a collegiate wrestling champion or something like that, right, Alec?
Way more than that. Way more than
One
that.
of the great. He's been named one of the greatest collegiate wrestlers ever.
If not the greatest. If not the greatest.
Right.
In
And
the three Division I national titles, you might be the greatest. You might be the greatest. I mean, yeah.
This is why I wanted to bring this up at the last headline. But I'm going to go to Ethan first before I get into the two boys going at it, pretty much backing up Bo Nichols. Probably going to happen. So, Ethan, I know you've heard the name Bo Nichols. I know that we've talked about it in our chats. And you probably have maybe not heard of the name Luke Rockhold. And I'm saying this to you. He's not anything special, honestly. He was champ at one point, but, it didn't last too long. And his streak went downhill and he had a few injuries and things like that. So that's a long story for you. But what do you think about, Bo Nichols pretty much firing back at Luke Rockhold? It's like, you better pretty much respect my wrestling because it's legit. What do you think about that?
I think Rockhold will find out very soon that Nichols is, you're not a 3-time D1 champion for nothing. I mean, that collegiate wrestling is, aside from the Olympics, the highest level of wrestling in the
so
world
high.
at this point. So I think that he rightfully fired back, and I think that I'd take Nichols for sure.
Yeah, if they were actually facing each other, that'd be quite a match to make. Dustin, I'm going to go to you. What do you think about this whole Luke Rockhold versus Bo Nichols situation? Obviously, they're not really facing each other, but they obviously went back and forth with each other in comments.
Why is he even talking to Bo Nichols?
I don't know. I don't know what the
I don't understand his premise on talking to Bo. First of all, Bo Nichols had 2 pro fights. He's not even close to the top of the UFC. He's not even close. He's not even in it for a fucking God. Okay. Luke Rockhold let Michael Bisping knock him out in the first round. I'm going to just say that. We're not going to move past that like it didn't happen, Luke. We're going to acknowledge that you got knocked out in the first round by Bisping, you fucking no chin having person. It is what it is. I just need to channel Jesus before I start talking about Luke Rockhold. First of all, the only thing that I'll say about Luke's comments about when it gets further into the top-notch talent of the UFC at the 185 division is I agree to a point, he's not going to be able to just wrestle his way to a 185 title. I agree with that premise. I think there's going to be guys who are going to stop it. I think there's going to be guys who are going to make it hard for him when he gets to the top-notch elite talent. He's only 26. He's not even going to get to that point until he's 28, 29. Now, we're talking 3 years from now. We don't even know what the fucking division's going to look like. Not even close. I mean, Izzy, of course, is probably going to be at the top because he's still kind of young. But you have no idea who's going to get there. Why is he talking about a kid who isn't even going to project or get there until 3 years later? And he's dissing on the kid's wrestling, saying he trains with guys who wrestle just like Bo Nichols. And I was like, okay, what the fuck does that prove? I don't understand. First of all, you haven't wrestled anybody like Bo Nichols. He won 3 Division I national titles. And he wrestled in the Big Ten. And if nobody understands the Big Ten, I grew up in Ohio, and I'm going to tell you right now, Ohio wrestling is off the fucking rip. I'm going to tell you that right now. Those boys are fucking nasty. Nasty. And the Midwest wrestling region is fucking insane. And he was not only in that conference, he won 3 national titles outside of that conference. So he dominated not only the Midwest, he dominated the national scene. And we're talking about, dude. And I would say that he was right if Bo Nichols didn't have some hands. Bro, Bo Nichols sparked a motherfucker. His first time in the ring, sparked him. He didn't wrestle him, he sparked him. And I would say he was right if he didn't have hands. If he was talking about Kayla Harrison, maybe I could get with him. Hey, that wrestling shit or that judo shit may not work when you face a top-notch elite talent and you can't throw hands. I got it. But he's talking about a kid who his first pro MMA fight sparked a dude. Sparked him. He didn't wrestle him. He fucking knocked him the fuck out. And you're going to sit over here and talk about a young kid that has nothing to do with you. You're fighting Paulo Costa, which is a joke in his own fucking right. That's why you're with him. That's why they don't even put you against him. And I'm just sitting over here like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you talking about Bo Nickel? You had no business talking about him anyway. He had nothing to do with you. At least he has a chin. He'll survive longer than 185 division if he can take a punch. Unlike you caught a right hand from Bisping and folded up. I don't know what to tell you about that. Coaches can't fix that.
What's wrong with Bisping?
He's got soft hands.
He got pillow hands. That boy don't knock out shit. That boy don't knock out a damn thing. He couldn't even beat Chael Sonnen for God fucking sakes. And he became the 185. Get the fuck out of here. Not you, Ethan. I'm just talking about Michael Bisping becoming a champion and Luke Rockhold over here talking like he got beat twice by Michael Bisping. Like, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't even know why he's talking about Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel hasn't even signed a contract. And he's over here talking shit about this young kid. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, last but not least, I can tell Alec Carr was just itching and waiting for his turn to talk about this situation. So, Alec Carr, am I supposed to put your rant of the week up, or is this not one of those?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Well, first of all, I don't give a fuck about Luke Rockhold. I don't give a fuck about his opinion. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. One of the lowest fight IQs in the entire UFC. The guy gets knocked out because he continues to put himself in bad places against everybody. And not even I was about to say against strong punchers, but like Dustin said, Michael Bisping's got pillow hands, and he does. So he continues to put his chin out there. He continues to get hit. And, you put it nicely, Mooney. He's got a couple of injuries. No, he got knocked the fuck out like 3 times in a row. That's what happened because he's not smart. He's just dumb. He's been a dumb fighter, and he's going up against another dumb fighter on Saturday, but we'll talk about that later.
Costa might knock him out. He might knock him out, though. He might spark him.
It's just so annoying. My bigger problem is with Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith chimed in yesterday, guys. Big old high fight IQ, knowing best fighter, most the lion-hearted bullshit. Chimed in and said way worse things than Luke Rockhold said. At least Luke Rockhold said that he's a top talent, definitely coming in. He's a good prospect. Anthony Smith said, well, he was great in college, but he went through the Olympic trials and he lost, so he's not that good of a wrestler. That's literally what he said. That is what he said. And you want to know why? You want to know why Bo Nickel lost in his Olympic trials? One, he had a very bad outing that he talks about. He said it over and over again. He wasn't himself. He didn't feel right, and he learned a lot from it. But 2, guess who was training striking during that time period? Bo Nickel. Guess who continues to train striking right now? Bo Nickel. Guess who's working out at Muay Thai gyms and kickboxing gyms? Bo Nickel. You want to know why? Because he's already the best fucking wrestler in the division, and it's not even close. He is 10 times better. What he said, Bo Nickel thinks that UFC middleweight has 10. No UFC middleweight has 10% of his wrestling. He is absolutely right. There is no one in that division that can keep up with him on the ground. Not a single one. And now he is learning kickboxing and Muay Thai. Are you kidding me? Bo Nickel is a big fuck too. That's what other people don't realize. He's a big motherfucker. This guy Bo Nickel, as the fact that he has to prove himself again in the Contender Series is a goddamn sham, and it's all about money for Dana. It's just disgusting. Bo Nickel is a guy that could dominate this division for 10 years. Bo Nickel is a guy that if he proves to be better than Izzy, which he probably will be because Izzy cannot wrestle, period, is just he's got his potential. Just so everybody knows this, and I don't want to mince words, his potential is the greatest middleweight of all time. Period. That's what it is. Will he live up to it? We'll see. But that is his potential right now, is the greatest middleweight of all time. He is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time already, and he's fucking 26. He's 26. He was going up against vets in the U.S. Olympic trials. He was a baby. In the U.S. Olympic trials. and he still almost got through. It's just Anthony Smith and Luke Rockhold and all you other fighters who have zero fight IQ. Shut up. Just shut up. Stop ESPN. Fire them all because it's so, including Mike Bisping, who never should have been a champ in the first place because we all know Dan Henderson won that fight. Everybody knows that Dan Henderson won that fight. Dana White came in the octagon and said, I'm so glad you get to retire as champ. That's how convincing that was. Luke Rockhold, Anthony Smith. Stop talking. Anthony Smith is the same guy that thought Yuri's technique was horrible. He was a guy that was rolling out of fucking guillotines from one of the greatest Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists the sport of MMA has ever seen. And Yuri was rolling out of them. Textbook. Anthony Smith has no idea what he's talking about. I'm so sick and tired of Luke Rockhold, Anthony Smith, and all the other fucking morons talking about this. This is a new age of UFC, and you guys can't keep up with these young athletes. That's where this is coming from. That is exactly where it's coming from. And that is what it is. These guys have been fighting since they were 3, and they're better than all of it than you ever were, and you're upset, and your feelings are hurt.
Exactly.
I'm done. I'm done.
I knew that this was going to be a great topic to end on, but we have a fight card to talk about, and I know Dustin's not the biggest fan of this fight card, but we got to talk about it anyway. We are going to start with Alec card because you usually do the whole prelim situation, so why don't you talk about one of the weird switch-ups that they did with the prelims and the main card?
Yeah, so the UFC is trying to promote ABC, which makes sense, but they're doing it in such an asinine way, and I respect Dana White as a businessman, so I just don't agree with him on this decision. He's taking marquee names and taking them off of the main cards and putting them on the prelim. That's a dangerous game. That's a really dangerous game because people are just going to watch the free prelim and just tune out for the main card and try to find the illegal stream later, like they're already doing. And now you're giving them marquee names on for a free card. That's just dumb. It's just dumb. And by the way, on this main card, you have 2 people, one who's never been good in the UFC and another woman who's making her UFC debuts on the main card. And you put that.
She got kicked out of the UFC. One of them got kicked out of the UFC.
And you got Alexander Romanov versus Marcin Tybura, 2 ranked heavyweights on the prelims. On the prelims, I'm gonna do my inner AI right now on the prelims, not the main card. The prelims, we're talking about prelims. You got 2 ranked heavyweights on the prelims. That doesn't make any sense. Alexander Romanov, it hasn't lost. He's a fun fighter to watch. He's a former sumo wrestler, and he's dominating everybody he fights. And you're putting him on the prelims. That's just dumb. Just dumb.
No, I definitely agree. Before we get into Alec card, do you have any prelim shoutouts to make besides obviously the heavyweights that were just said?
Yeah, you got a couple of young guys. You got Amir Abatsi in the flyweight division, who's 14-1. The guy's absolutely he's just kind of plowing through right now. And then you got Sean Woodson, who's 9-1. We'll see. I'm not that big of that big of a. Yeah, that's what I was going to next. And then you got Miranda Maverick on there too, and AJ Fletcher as well. So you got a lot of young fighters in this. Sean Woodson's a little bit older. That's why I'm not gonna buy in on him yet. But you got 4 people back to back on the prelims that you have to watch. You have to watch these young men and women coming up.
All right, so we are going to get started because, like I said, we have a main card to talk about. So we're going to start with the first fight, which is a light heavyweight fight between Tyson Pedro and Harry Huntsucker. Now, I used to be a Tyson Pedro fan. Now, he's been away for quite a bit of time. I know there were some canceled fights probably because of COVID. I remember that being a thing. But I used to be a Tyson Pedro fan. I want to believe that he's going to win this fight, but I honestly don't know. I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen him fight, and he's trying to get his win streak back, obviously. We'll see about that. Alec Carr, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you think is going to win this light heavyweight bout?
Who cares?
No.
This is what I'm talking about. You could have Alexander Romanov and Marcin Tybura in this fight in this slot. Anyway, I think Tyson Pedro wins this fight. Harry Huntsucker, I know people love him because of his last name and his antics after he wins. He celebrates in really funny ways. He's not good. Like Huntsucker's not good. I know everybody's getting behind him because he's funny, but he's not a good fighter. Tyson Pedro definitely has a lot of talent. He was a guy that everybody was behind at first, and then kind of fell off after beating Paul Craig pretty easily. He lost to Ayer Latifi, Vincent Crew, Marcio Shogun. So Tyson Pedro's got a lot to prove, and I think he's going to prove it in this fight.
All right, I'm going to go to Ethan next. Ethan, I know you might not know these names, but if you did a little bit of research, do you have any input on this fight?
I think, not even looking into the odds, Pedro's a faster fighter and has more agility and a better fighting ability, to be honest. And then that's not even looking at the odds. You look at the odds. Pedro's the biggest favorite on the prelims or main card.
I can see that. Yeah.
Vegas is willing to pay out 52 to 10.
Holy shit!
If Huntsucker wins, so Huntsucker's, my guess, is down the first round at this point.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that, obviously, and then we're gonna go to Dustin real quick. Who do you think's gonna win? Is it gonna be Tyson Pedro? Or is it gonna be Harry Huntsucker?
Tyson Pedro to me, easy. Look, I mean, he's lost to some. Look, I may not like some of the fighters he's lost to, but at the same time, those guys have been there. They've been there in that situation. And Tyson Pedro, he just hasn't. But Tyson Pedro is definitely a good enough fighter to beat Harry Huntsucker. But I will say to Ethan about the Vegas odds, I would take that with a grain of salt. Believe me, I've seen a lot of Vegas odds and thought of guys that were shitty, and they ended up sparking dudes, man. They ended up beating the shit out of the guy there. I would do more background on guys before you listen to Vegas. Vegas only takes things basically from almost like a fan swinging point. Who would be the most of surface, not really like looking into it, not too many details. If I were to give you some advice when it comes to betting, I would, especially in MMA, especially in any combat sport, boxing, I don't give a shit what you bet on. I would start watching a little bit of their fights and actually getting to know their background. Because I'll tell you what, you'll make 10 times more money doing that than listening to Vegas odds, especially in fighting. Believe me.
For sure, guys. We're going to move on, but I have to go because I have a dinner to go do. So Alikar is going to take over the stream. Everybody have a great fight week, and I will see you all later. Have a good rest of the show, everybody. See you guys next time.
See you, Monique.
See you, Monique.
All right. So now we're down to just the boys here. So the next fight we got coming up, guys, is, a world burner of Lucy Lova versus Yana Wu. Dustin, I'm going to go to you first on this one so you can break down who Lucy is and why she shouldn't be in the UFC and why this fight is horrible for the main card. So, Dustin, go ahead.
First of all, this fight's terrible for any fucking card. I don't care if it's especially a main card of a fucking pay-per-view. We're not even talking right now. Like when it comes to this fight, I don't even know what the fuck I'm supposed to talk about. I know Wu actually has completely earned her way back, dude. Like, Wu was definitely kind of not very touted. And it is what it is. That's just how it goes. But Lucia has basically gone on some type of a win streak in another organization that me and you have never heard of, and especially Ethan has not heard of. I'm just going to be real with you. Wu has actually been in the UFC at the slightest. She has competed with at least UFC talent, UFC level. Why the fuck they put this in the main card, dude? I don't know. I don't understand the premise of either of them even sniffing. This almost tells me what they think of what they think of Kamaru Usman. They're gonna shit on his card like this. They're gonna put shitty fighters on his card. And honestly, that's what it's telling me. Like you have to have some type of an opinion. This chick has lost 3 fights in a row. And she's been in the UFC, that's true. She's facing a girl. Maybe they think this girl coming from this unknown organization is going to be something. Maybe she has won a string of fights in somewhere, again, we've never heard of. But I don't know. Maybe they're marketing the girl that they think's on the win streak, which is Luis. I couldn't tell you. I don't have a really good talent evaluation from either of them. Wu is obviously a native of China. I mean, I respect their martial arts, their training. I mean, obviously they got some really good talent, but she hasn't won shit in the UFC. I don't understand. She's about on the brink of getting kicked out of her contract. Like she probably has a 6-fight contract. If she doesn't win this one, she's going back to a regional promotion. Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see why the fuck this is on this card.
Yeah, Ethan, you got any thoughts on this one? I can't imagine the Vegas betting line is very big on this one. It's probably more like a pick'em.
Honestly, just from what I was reading, I have Lucy winning this just because from my research earlier, so she's a more precise striker. I think that will come. I think it's. I don't know. Like Dustin said, this fight shouldn't be on the main card. Arguably, I'd say this is a fight night prelim out right here.
Literally.
Yes, that was very well put by our newest UFC and MMA fan. That was perfect. That is actually exactly what I was going to say. This is a fight night Vegas card prelim, an Apex prelim. Guys, that's what this is. And you got it on a main card where you could be featuring Miranda Maverick. If you want to put a women's fight on the card, put Miranda Maverick on the main card. I don't understand. Then you got all these young guys fighting. You got Amir Abatsi, who's a 14-1 and is an absolute beast fighting through it. He's in Brave FC. Like, that's not a joke of a promotion. That's a known promotion. And you got and he's 14-1 in it. It's just crazy. Like you not to even mention Alexander Romanov versus Tibero, who are 2 ranked guys. Like, and you're wasting. No one's gonna buy this card. Except for me, because I have a thing with the next fight. We got Jose Aldo versus Marav Davashili. I am so pumped for this fight, guys. I'm so excited. I'm a Jose fanboy. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. He's one of the greatest pound for pound fighters of all time. In his heyday, which he's getting back to, he went on that ridiculous. What was it, Dustin? Like 10 fight win streak.
Aldo went on. He went like almost 10 years. Besides Connor, he went on almost a 10-year unbeaten streak. Like he went
from now this wasn't part of this is in WEC, but he went from 2007 to 2014 without a loss. Jose Aldo is one of the best to do it. Then he struggled. He got smoked by Conor McGregor, beat Frank Yeager, got beat by Max Holloway. Then, we all know what happened after that. And probably put up the best fight we ever seen against Petr Yan, and then went on this crazy 3-fight win streak where one of them he beats Chito Vera, the other one he beats Rob Font. Jose Aldo is a fucking animal. He should be fighting for the title, not Dillashaw. In my opinion, he's proved it. That 3-fight win streak was insane, going through Chito, Muniz, and Rob Font, all within a year of each other, by the way, guys, which is also insane. It tells you how little damage he took. It's a great fight. Marav Davashili is a really good opponent. I'm not going to trash him, but Jose Aldo deserved the title. He did, and that's why I'm upset. But I'm going to be watching this because this is a dangerous fight for Jose to take. Marav Davashili is no joke. His ground game is impeccable. And that being said, Jose is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we will see what happens. I think Jose wins this fight. I think he wins it pretty easily. I think it's a unanimous decision. Ethan, let's go to you first. What do you think about this? Do you see it another way, or do you think Jose's going to get it done again?
So, Chito Vera was the one that broke the guy's nose this past Saturday, right? Yeah.
Broke his nose? More like put him on his face.
Yeah, broke his face. Yes, he broke his face.
Yeah. I saw the nose crack with the kick, and me and my friends were like screaming. So that was a fun moment. But for
welcome to MMA, brother. Welcome fucking to it.
Aldo beating Chito and having the win streak of 3 at least notable fighters, whereas looking at Marav, the past 7 wins he's had, correct me if I'm wrong, none of them have been against like top quality opponents, and the one that you could argue was on a 3-fight losing streak before that. So I don't think we're seeing a guy who doesn't necessarily have the experience of going up against contenders, fighting against an all-time great. And yet the all-time great is the underdog, technically. I think I'll take Aldo just because I like his striking. I think that he can get a KO in the second round if it stays on the feet.
All right, Dustin, what do you think?
I actually like this fight. I actually agree with Alec. I think that he deserves a title fight. I don't know why he's fighting this dude. The only thing I could think of is because TJ Dillashaw is a bit bigger of a name. When it comes to, not saying he's bigger than Jose, I'm just saying that like right now in modern MMA, TJ Dillashaw just has a bigger name and draw at this point. Not in history, at this point. What I'll say about his opponent is he's facing a legit guy. This guy is not a walkover. I mean, he's not a bad fighter. I'm actually glad they put him because he beats this dude. He needs the title shot. I'll tell you what. I mean, this guy actually did beat one of my favorite fighters that I think Mighty Mouse stole his prime years was John Dobson. I think Dobson got his prime years stolen by Mighty Mouse. Great fighter. He got it stolen by Mighty Mouse. He just couldn't get past him. Took him 5 rounds, but he couldn't get past him. He just all his fame got taken by a great in the sport of MMA. Probably the best flyweight ever. I still think that Jose Aldo comes out with this. I think he's coming out. I just don't see the level. Like he beat Marlon Moraes when Moraes was considered good, and we're talking probably a year ago. He was considered until my boy Yudong Song sent him into retirement. I'm gonna just point that out. Marlon Moraes, he's beat some good guys, dude, but nobody on the level of Jose Aldo. I think Jose Aldo is gonna get a decision in this. I firmly believe that.
I'll tell you what scares me, guys, is Marav Davashili being a Sambo world champion. That's what scares me for Aldo. The pressure the pressure that a Sambo fighter brings and the pressure that Davashili brings my worry is that Aldo, he's never really fought anybody and even though his career is impeccable, it's one of the greatest careers, if not the greatest career of all time. He's never seen a Sambo champion. Like, these guys are terrifying. That's what Khabib was. That's what Islam is. That's what like all of these guys are absolutely terrifying. If you see Russia or Chechen next to their names, it means they do Sambo. And the whole thing with Sambo is you overwhelm your opponent with intense pressure and wrestling mixed with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. So that's why I am worried about this fight, because I think Jose can do it. If anyone could, it would be him landing a stiff uppercut that that Dustin knows the uppercut I'm talking about from Aldo. That uppercut's dangerous. Any counter strike that Aldo throws can put you to sleep. So we'll see what happens. I'm worried, but I'm going with Jose. All right, we're going on to the next one. We got the exciting fight of Paulo Costo versus Luke Rockhold. And before I throw this over to Dustin, I just want to say I can't believe that we made it here. I can't believe. I mean, I guess we got a couple more days for this fight to get canceled, and for one of them to pull out. But I can't believe we made it this far without one of them pulling out. Dustin, what do you think about this fight? I know you got strong opinions on it, so I'll let you go first.
I think Paulo Costa sparks him. I don't like Paulo Costa. I'm not going to say I like him as a fighter because I don't. I think he's pretty overrated. I think he's a beefhead. And I think he's more muscle than he is fighter, to be real. I think he's just a aesthetically big guy. Like, he's impressive to look at when he steps in the octagon. He looks like he's on some TRT. Don't get me wrong, because I'm telling you, I know what guys look like when they're on testosterone. He looks like it. He looks like it, by the way. And I will say that I think he's a better fighter than Luke. I think he's a better fighter than Luke. I think he has power to lay Luke the fuck out. I will never take anything from Paulo Costa in his power. When he touches that chin, he'll spark you, dude. I mean, he'll put you down. He'll knock you the fuck out if he can. I think Luke Rockhold's going to step in the pocket, and Paulo Costa's going to knock him the fuck out. And Ethan, if you can find a good bet on this fight, I would bet on a KO and probably inside too, if you're going to ask me.
I was going to say, I was thinking him in the first round.
You got to watch with the first round bets. You got to watch the first round bets, but first or second.
Okay, so this is how I feel about this fight. It might drive Dustin crazy, and it might drive MMA fans crazy. Paulo Costa has zero ground game, period. Absolutely zero ground game. Luke Rockhold has a little bit of ground game.
He's a black belt.
Is he? We haven't seen it. That's all.
He's a black belt. Very reputable.
Dustin, I'm just saying we haven't seen it. We've never seen it before. He's a power striker. I don't think he really.
I agree.
It's the way I compare it to is Justin Gaethje's wrestling that we hear is so good, but we never get to see because he never does it. Like so I can't say he's got great BJJ even though he's got a good black belt just because I've never seen it. But Luke Rockhold can wrestle. It's one thing he can do. But I do that is where he can win if Luke Rockhold shoots early. I will say this: Luke Rockhold loves holding his chin out to be punched more than any other fighter I've ever seen in the UFC. He is the epitome of he's got talent. He's got no IQ. He has no idea what he's doing in there. Talent for days. No idea what he's doing. And when he fights against people like if you've seen this show before, you know my feelings and Dustin's feelings and Monique's feelings about Paulo Costa. The guy's a scumbag. He just is. We're talking about a guy that elbowed a nurse because he wouldn't give him a vaccine card. We're talking about a guy that pulled out of a fight because he said he was drinking wine too much. We're talking about a guy that spent a whole night in Ibiza and pulled out another fight because he was too hungover. Like this guy doesn't actually care about fighting. He likes the life that fighting affords him. So that's this is the battle of who cares more, really. And that's why I said I was shocked that neither of these guys have pulled out yet. I think Paulo Costa gets it done because Luke Rockhold's chin is made of it. I don't know what's weaker, what shatters more than glass, because that's what his chin is made out of. It's just absolutely
glass. Paper would probably be the easiest one after glass.
Yeah, but paper folds. It might not tear. That's my thing. Like what shatters more than glass? A little twig.
Sure, your jaw.
We're coining a new term in MMA. He's got a twig chin. That's what Luke Rockhold has. Because I just think Paulo Costa, he's probably going to shoot a takedown in all the wrong ways and put that chin out there, and Paulo Costa is just going to punch it off, just like we've seen happen to Luke Rockhold a million times. Anyway, I don't know when it happens. It's probably I would imagine it goes to the second round because Luke Rockhold can last. But it would probably be second round KO is my opinion.
I think it's second round.
All right, we're moving on what people will find is not an exciting fight, but if you are a fight fan, this is a pretty exciting fight because Leon Edwards versus Usman, part 2. Now I will say this: the first fight happened a long time ago when Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman were different. They were just different people back then. They were different fighters back then. Usman's gotten much better at striking, and Leon Edwards' game has just gotten much better in general. I will say this: Leon Edwards has been training a lot of wrestling. I'm going to throw it over to you, Ethan, first. Go ahead, Ethan. What do you think is going to happen in this fight?
So obviously, the last fight they had was just 3 rounds, and it was a long time ago. And it ended in a decision win for Usman. But this fight being a 5-rounder and Usman being that much more improved and being that much better, I think he finishes it. I'd probably say 3rd or 4th round he could do it. But I just don't think this fight would last the entire time, just with Usman's ability to win on the ground or standing up. I just don't think Edwards has it in him to last a full 5 rounds.
It's fair. That's very fair. Dustin, I can probably guess what you think is going to happen in this fight, but go ahead. Unless you want me to tell you that speak for you, because I can pretty much hear your voice on what's going to happen.
No. Let me explain. Leon, fuck your wrestling, dude. Fuck your wrestling. You ain't shit when it comes to Kamaru Usman. You're a fucking baby trying to wrestle Kamaru Usman. I'm just gonna let you know that. In order for me to compliment your wrestling and think it's gonna work against Usman, I would have to say you're better than Colby, which you are not, by the way. You are not a better wrestler than Colby Covington. It's not true, and it's just a fucking fact. You're probably not even a better striker than Colby Covington, if you ask me. I don't even think he's that great in that department. And if Nate Diaz can rock you with a fucking right hand in late rounds, Kamaru Usman's gonna fucking destroy your entire lifestyle. So therefore, he can't wrestle. I don't know why he's saying he's gonna wrestle Kamaru Usman. If we're gonna talk about collegiate wrestling, you're talking about a University of Nebraska boy that won a national title. Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna wrestle that monster? That monster. You're gonna wrestle. Colby Covington can barely put him on his ass. And you're gonna tell me that you're gonna wrestle Kamaru Usman. You're gonna get your ass beat. This is not even attractive. Not even attractive. Kamaru Usman is going to beat. He's gonna dog walk. Put a leash on Leon Edwards. He's gonna get his ass whooped. Whooped. He's gonna get his ass beat. That is exactly how I look at this fight. About to get his ass beat.
I don't disagree with you. The reason I'm making the squinty eyes in the face is because you said Colby Covington is a better striker than Leon Edwards.
He's going to survive better than him? He's going to survive better than him? He's going to get his ass beat. It's not going 5.
Colby Covington has pillow hands and is a half striker. Like, he doesn't even follow through on his punches. He doesn't know how to strike. What are you talking about? Colby Covington is the smallest welterweight in the entire division. The guy's tiny.
He beat Leon Edwards. You would beat Leon Edwards. Like,
I don't know about that. Leon Edwards is big fun. I don't know about that, man. You got a lot more faith in I only fight guys coming off of a loss to Colby Covington.
He took the greatest welterweights of all time to 5 rounds twice and Rocco. Dude, he's way better than Leon Edwards.
And other than those 2 fights, he's only fought people coming off of losses. And now he was told he's either got to fight Burns and Chimaev, and he's literally fucking disappeared. You can't find the guy anywhere.
Okay. Chimaev is a monster foaming at the mouth.
The UFC was like, Colby Covington's got to fight an actual contender, and he was like, all right, see you guys. I'm out.
He fought the greatest in the world, so I don't know how much weight.
That's a whole different topic that we've talked about to death. You have an opinion about those fights. I have an opinion about those fights. We're not even touching that right now. We're talking about Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. And I got to say that people
Lamar,
listen. Kamaru Usman's probably going to whoop his ass just like he does everybody else. That's just a fact. What pisses me off is that people are just complaining that Kamaru Usman just fights the people he's already fought. I mean, they fought. That was Kamaru Usman's first fight after the Tough. That was his first fight after Tough. That's how long ago we're talking about. Leon Edwards hasn't lost in, let's see. Let's just look at this. Leon Edwards hasn't lost since then either. Leon Edwards is an absolute striking monster. He's a precision kickboxer. Did Diaz catch him? Yeah, sure. You get caught sometimes. That happens, man. It just happens. We've seen Conor get caught. We've seen some of the best fighters in the entire UFC get caught. Leon Edwards is – I don't think he's going to go 5 rounds because I think that Usman's literal game plan is just to take Leon down and just continue to shoot, and hold him on the ground. He doesn't want to strike. He already said he doesn't want to strike with Leon Edwards. He said it in public. He said he was like, Leon Edwards was like, strike with me, and he was like, hey, you think I'm going to strike with you? I'm going to wrestle you. I'm not going to strike with you.
What contender has Leon Edwards fought? Has he fought Gilbert Burns? No. Actually, his fight with Bilal got ended on a no contest. RDA, which a lot of people have beat.
Oh my God, he was destroying Bilal in that fight. He was destroying him. He beat RDA. He beat Cerrone in 2018 when he still had some talent. He also destroyed Vicente Luque. Like, what are you talking about? He hasn't beaten an actual contender.
Shit.
He annihilated Vicente Luque. That was an annihilation. Leon Edwards absolutely deserves this fight.
If I'm not mistaken.
He deserves this fight, and Kamaru already said that he's going to take him down. He's going to take him down a lot. That's his game plan. He doesn't want to strike with Leon Edwards. He's one of the best. He's one of the best precision strikers in the entire division. He's not going to strike with him, and he already admitted that he's not going to strike with him. He's going to try to pull him down to the ground and hold him against the fence, which he'll probably do because Leon Edwards is long, and he's going to grab a hold of those legs and go for takedowns over and over and over again. Leon Edwards' only hope is to attack those legs and attack those legs early because Leon Edwards' leg kicks are terrifying. They sound like two metal baseball bats. When he strikes your leg, it sounds like two metal baseball bats hitting each other. His leg kicks are scary, and he can take that lead. Dustin, if he can take that lead leg away
this is his single most fight.
You keep cutting in and out. I can't hear you.
This is. I bet.
But I'm just saying that
this is the single most fight I've ever been the most confident in Kamaru Usman. This is the most confident I've been.
Jorge Masvidal? Come on, man. Everybody knew who was going to win that fight.
At least Jorge Masvidal. Nah.
Jorge Masvidal.
A little. I'm more confident in Usman in this fight than I even.
I'm sorry, dude. I love you. You're a brother to me, but that's just dumb. Leon Edwards is a precision striker. He's a precision striker, and his kickboxing is some of the best in the division. Anyway, what I'm saying is that Leon Edwards' only chance is to do damage to those legs and do them early, so that Leon can't get inside. So that Usman can't get inside and take it down. There's a very slim chance because Usman has dangerous hands now. So, it's not a really easy thing to do. And Ethan, you don't really know this. It is very easy to counter leg kicks. That's why you don't see him as often as you used to anymore. It is very, very easy to counter leg kicks when you got good hands. We're all picking Kamaru Usman. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you got to give Leon Edwards credit. He got here. He deserves to be here, and he can absolutely outstrike a lot of people in the division. Anyway, and that is the end of our show. We kept it to 10 minutes over, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's look at what's coming up. In the future, we got the exciting the Paris card, which is super cool. UFC's in Paris. That's awesome. We got Cyril Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. Then we got Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettieri, which is fucking awesome.
Hey, hold on, Ethan. What do you think about this Usman fight? What is your opinion? If you were looking from the outside in, what is your opinion?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't even go to you. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
I think you went to me first. I said Usman's gonna win it before. I said he's gonna win it before round 5, and he ends up finishing it in probably round 4.
Okay, so it was brief. That's why I was kind of like skeptical about it. I didn't know if you actually went into it the way you wanted to. So
No, I went to a bit more than that. Just you guys had your little part 2 of your guys' rants.
Yeah, that tends to happen on this show. But the next card coming up is UFC Paris. It's going to be a good one. Gane versus Tuivasa, 2 of my favorite fighters. I'm already regretting having to pick one because I don't want to. You got Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettieri. The Reaper's back. I'm so glad to have him back. Then you got a bunch of young guys on the main card, which is super exciting. I think they'll probably try to bump up one of the prelims to the main card. We'll see what happens there, and because you got Nazaruddin Amanov against Joaquin Buckley on the prelim. So don't be surprised if that gets the bump up to the main. Guys, it's been a great show. We've talked way too long. I've ranted way too much. I'm done. So I will end it with happy fight week, everybody. It's going to be, even though Dustin thinks it's going to be boring, please make sure you tune into those awesome prelim fights as well. Happy fight week. We'll see y'all next week.